story. So Tristan, welcome aboard.
Thanks for having me, Josh. I'm excited to be here. I actually have one of those thumbs up as well. I should have brought it upstairs to be able to hold that up. I'll give the real thumbs up for now. I'm excited to unpack this and really just to be able to not just share the journey and the story, but give some of the tactics and strategies out in the best way that you think is possible with the audience.
Fantastic. So I think the best place to start when it comes to these is just kind of give us a short background. Like, how did you get into digital marketing? How did you get into running your own digital marketing agency? Give us the quick overview.
Yeah, so I actually got my start in network marketing my freshman year of college, but I was an athlete, and you cannot promote products as a college athlete. And so I started to see some success in network marketing, and my coaches pulled me in the office and they said, hey, everything that you're doing is illegal, and it actually makes you ineligible to compete. So you either stop that or you're off the team. And so here I come as this new to entrepreneurship from a small town, graduated with 50 students, to college, thinking, oh my gosh, entrepreneurship, like I'm starting to meet people that are successful at a young age. I'm going to be just like them. And it was my random roommate, now partner and best friend, Josh, that introduced me to all this, Joshua Matthews. And so my coaches kind of kicked me in the butt, and they're like, yeah, you can't do this. And so a year went by, and I was sitting there like, well, what can I do to make extra money? What can I do to like run a business? And it was actually the same time, this is in 2016, that Tai Lopez released his first SMMA course. And he had a 100-person wait list to get in on it. And so my partner and I, Josh, started there, but it's evolved way past that initial program. So we started there in the fall of 2016. We ran a small digital marketing agency in our college town where we did videos, we hosted events, we ran, light Facebook ads. We worked with everybody you can imagine in that town. Restaurants and bars and grills, car dealerships, spiritual centers, coffee shops, an optometrist, a dentist, a chiropractor, CBD store. I mean, just anybody who would take us. And it wasn't until graduation, going towards graduation, that I did an internship with a chiropractor, and I found the gift in what they do. And I found kind of like my, I guess you could say, like calling for digital marketing as well, where we wanted to take it. And so in the fall of 2018, we cut off all of our other contracts. We launched ChiroRevenue, working exclusively with chiropractors, and we've been building there ever since.
That's awesome. So it's kind of a generalist agency, decided to shift to focus on chiropractic. And so kind of tell us where you're at in the business now. How many clients, how much revenue, kind of what's the current lay of the land?
Right. So we have 73 clients right now.
Wow.
The general lay of the land is they come in on a launchpad package. It's around $3,500, and they move into retainer at $2,000 a month. And in those, we do a lot of different services, but we're mostly focused on their local awareness. As most business is still done at the local level. And I think a lot of agencies are generally given the tactics or strategies at a higher level for maybe national campaigns or influencer campaigns, but the real impact is made at the local level. There's big businesses like Amazon or Apple that, a lot of people do business with, but 90% is still done between 5 miles of the home. So we really love building out the local awareness for our clients to make sure that they're not only interwoven with the community and the other businesses, but that they're producing valuable content, that they're a trusted source for information, and that, of course, they're still running ads and getting seen on search and social.
Nice. So 70 plus chiropractic clients, obviously a nice size agency. Can you talk a little bit about that, what's included in that launch pad, and then what's included on the monthly retainer based service?
Yeah, so we'll unpack more of the story, but originally we were just doing content, like heavy content, where we were doing about 10 videos a month. We've got some clients all the way up to a little bit more, almost 20 videos a month, where they were unique, they were edited, and then we would cross post them to the other pages. Okay. But once in the beginning of 2020, I met up with Dennis Yu and started to unpack a lot of the systems and processes there. I realized that even though what we were doing was working, there was way more that we could bring to the table. And so at the initial setup, we start with digital plumbing, which is the setup of pixels and tracking to understand where their success is already coming from. So that way we're not just giving every single client the exact same prescription, if you will. That's the wrong word to use for chiropractors, but for anybody else that they'll understand. And just sending them straight to videos when in fact, they might just be getting more than enough reach from their local listings. And so we start there with digital plumbing, going through all their assets. We have checklists and we have documentation of all that. And then we go into the SAE, the social amplification engine that Dennis teaches. We take exactly what's worked based on what that plumbing tells us, and we amplify it. And then we roll out new content, new local partnerships, and other campaigns.
Love it. Love it. So talk to me a little bit about the inception method, you know, that kind of the sizzle button behind all of this. Just talk me through that and how it's played out for you.
Yeah. So you know the idea of inception, right? A dream within a dream within a dream, right? So you plant an idea that makes someone else feel like it's their own idea. And that same thing is happening with, you know, selling and sales in general. A lot of people, especially in the agency world, are cold DMing, cold LinkedIn messaging, you know, cold calling, and rightfully so. They're trying anything that they can do to get attention, but that can be misperceived with the client. Whereas if a client feels like it's their own idea to start digital marketing, it's their own idea that they need to do this, then they're more likely to not only do it, but there's no resistance in terms of the sale or bringing somebody in to work with you. And so what we do, and this is something that I've learned from Dennis Yu. So it's all credits to Dennis. If you guys aren't following Dennis Yu, I mean, he's the godfather of digital marketing.
Dennis is the man. Absolutely. 100% agreed.
So it starts with what we call a figurehead. So if you serve dentists, the greatest figurehead in dentists would be Glenn Vo. He's got 29,000 dentists in his group. In chiropractic, it's Dr. Sean Dill. In the home mortgage space, there's a player, there's a figurehead. In the home services space, there's a figurehead. In every other industry you can imagine, there is a leader, there's a standard, there's an authority. And so rather than focus on trying to get like the list of businesses in this market and call them, we actually work on the relationships with the figureheads, with the authorities, providing value to them, maintaining their personal brand and making sure that they're growing and showing that we not only care for the industry that they serve, but that we've got their back and their clients' back. And then they do all the selling and pushing for us. They do all the work in terms of, you know, clarifying our own products and services to lead them to us. That way, it's kind of like, you know, you have your strong ties and your weak ties. So your strong ties are like, you know, the people that are closest to you, and then like your weak ties are somebody who knows somebody. There's a lot more weak ties than there are strong ties, and the weak ties are actually more valuable because there's more of them. And so we're trying to create as many bridges to us as possible. And with the inception model, by developing this relationship with figureheads, we're able to build a lot more bridges to us without that uphill battle of friction or cold outreach.
I like it. So instead of chasing prospects down one by one off, you find the key players, coaches, consultants in that space. Ideally one that you can align with that's already got all of the people in your niche, that already does training for those folks, add value to them, get them to know, like, trust you, and see the value you can bring, and then kind of have them, I think in one of your posts, you said endorsement is the most powerful growth mechanism. So have them endorse you to their audience.
Yes, the fastest way to grow is to be endorsed, and the fastest way to understand what your niche or vertical or lighthouse, as we call them, need is to be in alignment with the people who already have that audience. By us aligning with Dr. Sean Dill, we know exactly, there's no guesswork. We know exactly what the biggest pain points are for chiropractors. With us aligning with Dr. Glenn Vo, we know exactly what dentists need. And so as an agency, instead of trying to figure out a new product or a new service or a new offer or a new tool every single month, you know the exact path in the life cycle that these businesses are on to be able to actually help them provide value. And that makes the relationship a lot stronger. But what you don't want to do is just go find the people with the groups and start bombarding them with cold messages and emails either. We believe that our relationships are the most valuable thing in our business. If all the cash flow and everything in our business stopped right now, we would be totally happy knowing that our relationships are secure and that we're going to still be taking people on a path. It doesn't matter what happens with like shutdowns in the local communities from, say, like COVID, or what's going on with like the election or anything like that. We've got strong relationships with our clients and with those figureheads that allow us to navigate as an agency and as a service provider, because we are service providers just like they are. We're just not at the local level.
I love it. So Stephen just asked a really good question. I want to make sure we get to it. But before that, just give me a like or a yes or a makes sense if this whole concept of getting endorsed and aligning with figureheads is a great idea. It's something you think you want to try and tap into. But before we go there, let's talk about 2018. You decided I want to make this pivot to focus on chiropractors. How were you getting clients back then before you started to align with these big figureheads? Talk to us about kind of how it started, what the germination was, and kind of where the acceleration point was.
Yeah. So the journey was definitely not easy. I mean, Dennis and I talk about this all the time. If you don't quit, especially in digital marketing, you win. Like the winners are just the people who don't quit, because it is not easy. Tools change, platforms change, processes change a little bit, and all those might feel like they're like overwhelming or impossible. But if you don't quit, you win.
Hey,
And
Rudy,
so,
Rudy Hedrick, that one's for you. If you don't quit, you win. I like it. Keep going.
So, and I want to answer Stephen's question too here in a bit, but if you don't quit, you win. And so in the fall of 2018, Josh and I made that decision, and we started, like a lot of agencies do, following what agency coaches were selling, agency coaches. We started messaging chiropractors on social media with a simple message of, do you run Facebook ads? Now, don't do that now. It's overplayed. It's played out. So I'm just going and disclaiming everybody there. We had a client, reach back out and say no. And we said, this was on our own doing. Well, we'll run them for free and be 100% performance driven. We just want a shot at running them to see what we can do. And so we walked into Dr. Nate and Stacy Bloomy's office in Noblesville, Indiana. Still our best clients, still our most amazing clients. They've helped us tremendously over the past few years. And that was the deal we made. It's going to cost you nothing except for your ad spend, and we're going to try everything. So in that over the course of the next year, I built every funnel that ClickFunnels has to offer and other tools. We ran pretty much every offer in the chiropractic space. We created a ridiculous amount of content, and they started referring us because we were working for free for them and then charging our other clients, because what worked for them, we would template out for the other clients and charge for that. Because as an agency owner, especially a new agency owner, you can't just go and sell, and I would consider us new at the time because we went to a new vertical. You can't just go and sell so-and-so's program for like lead gen, because it might work differently for your client. So you have to be prepared to accept those pivots. You have to be prepared to accept that each market is slightly different, that we can't run an ad about the Colts, Indianapolis Colts in Seattle, Washington, right? Mm-hmm. So we started paying attention to those things. And while we still buy agency programs and we still believe in agency coaches, and we definitely endorse the true coaches and teachers like yourself, Josh, we purposely would try to observe the masses and do the opposite. So if a new program would come out, we would buy it, analyze it, roll it out as just a test for Dr. Nate and Stacy Bloomy. And based on our analysis, we'd roll it out for other clients. And so over the course of the year, all of 2019, we started collecting more and more clients because we were performance driven and we only charge off of what was working. And in that time, we developed a ridiculous amount of content scripts. But again, it wasn't easy. When you're working on performance, you got to actually perform. And when you have a test client, that means you're doing something new frequently. But if you have a strong leadership team or you have a partner like I had with Josh, then there's two of you to split the work. So I would do the funnels, he would do the ads, right? I would do the content, he would do the copy. And we would be able to swap out what was and wasn't working and then roll it out for the other clients.
So I just want to pause there. I think the key insight, and give us a like or a thumbs up if you get it. The key insight is get a client in the niche that you're thinking, especially in your hypothesis niche, if you're at that phase, and spend most of your time trying to get the result for that client so they can become your case study client or become your lighthouse client. So crush it for them and be able to point back, look, this is the client, this is the result. You can use that in marketing, and ideally that client will be so happy that they start to refer you to others, right? That's what happened with us in Fort Lauderdale with Town Plumbing. We got that first client. Fortunately, he paid us. We didn't have to work for free. And our whole focus was, let's make sure that he gets amazing results. Let's make sure that he becomes a slam dunk. And then he started referring us, and we started developing our authority. So it sounds like that's where you started. And so continue now, like he started referring you and you started developing more and more expertise.
Yeah, so they started referring us. And again, that's why I would say, like, start with one client. So that way, if you're brand new to digital marketing, you still have the time or security to secure finances or anything like that. Because the last thing that you want to do is be unqualified. Do like the Dunning-Kruger, as Dennis will share, where you like think you know what you're doing because you took one course and then you just get smacked in the face by reality. But at the same time, you don't want to be overwhelmed to think that digital marketing is extremely complex. The truth is, it's really, really simple. And if you follow the things that you teach, that Dennis teaches, that other leaders teach, you'll see the simplicity, especially in the local level, that the biggest problem is that just most people aren't being seen. So the only thing worse than having, I guess, a bad reputation is having no reputation at all. And that's where most businesses are, especially at the local level and especially now. So all through 2019, we're getting referred to more and more clients, and everything that we do, we templatized. So every video we ever made, we templatized and would send out to our other clients to make. So we had like 100 videos for them to put out. And as you know, most clients don't make videos. So that's 100 times more output to their community and 100 times more ads than most of these clients were making. So we had that. We had text campaigns, lead campaigns, funnels, and we're rolling more and more of them out, but we got stuck at what I would call like the agency death loop or the agency stuck loop. We got stuck at that 10 to 15K a month mark, and that, 15-ish client mark, because things were going so smoothly. We didn't need to raise our prices. They were just very simple. Everyone was happy, but we couldn't hire and we couldn't scale our systems. And so coming into 2020, we knew something had to change, that we had to become system and process oriented, that I had to take a different role basically in our company to elevate that, and that Josh had to take another role. And so throughout the year, we start there. Of course, COVID starts. We shut down our office. We went fully remote at the exact same time. So that was just luck and circumstantial. And we let our clients know that this is what you're going to, see from us in the future, like more templated things. And we want to be able to create the easiest path for success for you. And around March, Dennis Yu came into our chiropractic group, and he started teaching the same thing that we were doing, but way simpler and way better. So good, in fact, because the systems were so clean that chiropractors were messaging me, "Hey, can you do what Dennis Yu just taught for me?" I was like, "Well, yeah, we can. That's what we do. We do the same thing." So I started diving into Dennis Yu's processes and systems to scale an agency, and we started hiring VAs fast. We started building out those processes for those hires and what they needed to do. And all of a sudden, we were able to take on more and more clients. And so as I did that, I would send Dennis everything. I would just bombard him. Here's the updates on our business. Here's the updates on our business. Whether he looked at it or not, he's a busy guy. And that started to develop our relationship, where he saw when he gave directions, I followed and implemented. And when he gave feedback, even if it hurt, I followed and I implemented. Similar to, I'm sure, with your students, sometimes you got to tell them exactly how it is. And he did not hold back for me at all. And so I'm listening and executing, listening and executing. And in the summer of 2020, there was an event that Dennis spoke at that I was also an attendee and a booth sponsor for. We had people coming up to both of us saying, "You guys do the exact same thing. I'm confused. Who should I work with?" And so I just walked up to Dennis and I went all in. I let him know exactly, everything we'd already implemented, where we were, what we needed, and that I would be willing to not only learn, but continue to do whatever I needed to serve all these clients. And so we started communicating more and more often. We met in San Diego and we came together in a partnership to relaunch ChiroRevenue and to bring Blitzmetrics in. And so now Dennis is our CTO, but he's really like, what would you say, the master splinter or the sensei of the group, teaching me how to run this at a way higher level. And we exploded after that.
That's amazing. So you kind of partnered up with a genius, right, to be your CTO. And like his genius really is in a lot of areas, but he had the relationship at that chiropractic group level where his endorsement carried a significant amount of weight. And then he could attract a lot of clients all at once and hand them off to you because you proved your value. You proved that you knew what you were doing. You proved that you could follow instructions and really execute for the clients that he might bring in.
Exactly. So again, the fastest way to grow is to be endorsed. And so when I walked into that event and I knew Dennis was going to be there, I even knew we had the same offer because we came in with it. I was like, I didn't know till the week before, but we had already spent so much time building it that we couldn't go back on what we were doing. And I was like, how can my question was not how can I take these clients that Dennis just closed from stage, or how can I make it all about me, or like a lot of people will get scared when what would be seen as a competitor would show up and dominate, right? Oh my gosh, is this the end for us? Are we gonna have to get bought out or something like that? No, I didn't think that at all. My question was, my thought was, Dennis, you just now collected 50, 60 of our ideal client, people who want to make video, who want to serve their community, who want to lead their community to better health. And I want to know how I can be endorsed by Dennis, even if that means we have to be in the passenger seat or the back seat or on the trailer towed behind the truck. How can I be endorsed by Blitzmetrics and Dennis and actually make a difference? And I think that leading the conversations with that is what powered our relationship, because he knew that genuinely, it's not that we wanted to scale to buy Lamborghinis and post on Instagram. We wanted to scale because we want to help as many chiropractors as possible because we believe in what they do.
I love it. So it seems like you were at about 15 or so clients. You'd proven your value. You'd gotten clients and referrals. And then this endorsement inception model that you're talking about, aligning with a figurehead through a figurehead, accelerated you, well beyond the 7-figure mark in basically one big event, one big conversion event.
Correct. It took us up to about 50. And then since then we've brought on like 20 more, which is way more than we were able to grow at first. We were able to take the hiring processes and the teams and bring them together. And I've had to learn like all of that. I'm not going to lie. There are some things that I just failed flat on my face at. And the thing is that all of what I'm doing now and all of what we've been doing, Dennis already gives away in training. It's the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing that he was sending me in emails. It's just the difference is he's here and we're working together on it because we're launching, multiple of these different at scale plans. So we've been able to learn from each other, but most importantly, I've been able to learn what it actually takes to run an agency at scale. And these are the exact same systems that would have been given out for free. It's just that I get to get like real-time feedback because we're both here serving our clients.
I love it. Powerful story, powerful journey. So I think this would be a great place to interject Steve's question, which is, typical figureheads are dealing with a lot of people trying to align themselves. A lot of them have already aligned with somebody. So how do you stand out so that the connection is genuine and not just focused on using their platform as a joint venture?
Of course. So just like Glenn Vo will even tell you, people know that he's authority, so they try to reach out to him every day, right? They cold call, they message, they like try to bombard his groups, and I would not suggest doing any of those things. we have a course called the Influence Generator course, and I think we can send it out to everybody if you just email operations@chirorevenue.com. But there are a lot of ways to develop influence, and so there are a few key ones. A lot of times people say join into the group and provide value, but I would see start off with a client you can actually serve before you jump into the vertical. Like if you don't have that client in that vertical that you're already working with that will be able to help bridge the gap, a client who is already in those groups, a client who's willing to give you that I guess you could say chance if you've never done this before, then it's going to be kind of hard to come into a group and have any authority, right? So I would start there before you start going for the endorsements, because you need to be endorsed by your clients first and foremost. It wouldn't benefit us to be, I guess it could benefit us to be endorsed by, say, Dr. Sean Dill or Dr. Glenn Bowe, but if all of our clients were unhappy and not endorsing us, then I'm sure we would fall flat on our face, right? So it's more important to be endorsed by the clients.
Yeah, I think the only way that figurehead's going to take you seriously is if you can show these are the results I'm getting from my clients, and more importantly, that your clients would say to them, "Look, this guy's great. He's got these results. I trust him. I've gotten these results." And if they can buy in that you're definitely going to execute and deliver the goods, then they'll happily make that endorsement. But there's no way you're going to come in, chase them down, send them something in the mail and get them to randomly endorse you unless you've got proven results.
Exactly. And so Dr. Nate Blumey and Stacy Blumey, our first, starter clients, and these other clients were already in these groups. And that's the thing to remember, is that a lot of your ideal clients are already in these groups. And so as you work with them, you just ask them what groups they're in. And if they know anybody in those groups who might be looking for similar results or help, because they'll happily refer them if they are getting great results, and they will endorse you. And now when you have 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 clients from one group, that's going to stick out to that figurehead, to that owner, because most agencies fail to get past 10 or 15 clients. So if you get endorsed by one and scale within a group, I mean, now you're an anomaly. And now this person has to take you seriously, and this has to kind of ask questions, and it's mutually beneficial for them to want to roll it out for their community, because they want success for all the people in their community. So I would actually start there. Now, once you've already done that, then it's up to, say, the tie between you and your clients, or between you and your service, to be able to provide that to the group. And so Dennis has an amazing teaching model. He teaches everyone everything, and he gives it away for free. And it's been the single greatest catalyst for change for me. So if you don't have any of those trainings, again, email operations ChiroRevenue, we send them all out. So there's a training model where you come in and you train, but you have to demonstrate that you've trained genuinely without a sale at the end of it multiple times for them to take you seriously. And that's what Dennis has done for so long. And that is a long, long haul. So I saw a question from Michael McDonald. The endorsement model sounds good, but will it take 12 months to see a return? Not always. Like it hasn't for me, but at the same time, it did take me almost a year to work my way into that group. And now I'm an authority in that group a year and a half later, 2 years later. I have probably the most engaged with posts, comments, like opt-ins, offers in that group of all time. But it did take a year and a half. And if you're committed, which is what it really takes, again, if you don't quit, you win. Committed to your agency, a year is a really short time.
Yeah, and so my perspective would be you want to have a couple different avenues to land clients, right? He was talking about direct cold outreach. Not a big fan of doing that, to run your whole business, but it is a decent place to start. Doing some outreach to generate opportunities and build up your seed client base, while at the same time pursuing endorsements and/or joint venture opportunities.
Yes, exactly. And so they're all three working on multiple fronts. And that's why we still talk about 1-minute videos. Why, how, what videos? You should be making them for your agency as well. You should be making them for your clients. And so that way you're establishing at least a track record of authority. If somebody looks you up and they look at your page and their profile and they see nothing about your business or your agency, even if you walk up to them and offer it for free, and you say you buy them drinks, you meet them at a bar, I don't know what you do in your process to be able to run into, say, your dream chiropractor like we did. But say you're in that conversation and they go to look you up to see if you're legit to take you up on your offer. If you don't have a single post or information about what you do, it's going to be very hard for them to take that bet on you. Because you've got to remember that most of these local businesses have already worked with agencies and failed. And so they're out on the hunt trying to find somebody better, trying to find somebody different. And we believe that a performance model is the best way to start there because they're going to refer and send you out.
Powerful, powerful stuff. So focus on getting the clients, deliver amazing results for them, create your case study or your lighthouse client, and then start looking for opportunities to align with figureheads that can endorse you, that can plug you into their group and their community, while at the same time continuing to put out content and continuing to prospect and position yourself as the go-to expert. I want to shift gears a little bit here to operations and fulfillment. So you went from 15 or so clients to 70 plus over a very short window of time. How do you set up the operations and the scale model in order to facilitate that?
Yeah. So, well, if you want to have the tactics and tools, we use a Google Sheet we use for the client tracker, and we use Basecamp. That's just the tools. Nice. But on a tactical level, we just use queues. So when the beauty of having a vertical and having a lighthouse is that you're going to be doing the same tasks for pretty much everybody. And so a lot of times, especially with a small agency like where I was before, we'll trick ourselves into thinking that digital marketing is very hard and that everything and everybody has a unique, position, or there has to be unique creative, or there has to be a uniqueness. But what we do is we do recognize that they're unique and we allow them to filter that through their own content, but we put everything into queues. And you can think of queues like buckets. And so we have an onboarding queue. When we have a new purchase, they go into that queue and our team takes it from there and does what they're supposed to do. There's training at the top of this queue. If there's an update to the process, it goes in this queue and everyone knows. So that way onboarding is fast and smooth and efficient. When we move on to digital plumbing, which is their setup, we have the plumbing queue and we go ahead and move everything in. So if we were to take on 10 clients today, we're going to have 10 in the onboarding, and then we're going to have them move into the digital plumbing. So the specialists, the team members, the VAs, even if it's just you by yourself, you know exactly what stage these people are in on the business, and you know how long they should be in that bucket. So we know that our standard, that onboarding should be no more than 48 hours. It's a call with the client. It's getting access to information and we're good. But digital plumbing might take a week because they have a Facebook access issue and we have to submit a support ticket. So we have our standards in those queues. And when we go into video editing, Google Ads setup, Facebook ads setup, each of those queues based on what you offer and the products have their own timelines, deadlines, tasks, standards, processes, and that allows you to filter the mass. Otherwise, we'd be looking at 73 different projects on 73 different timelines with 73 different people to communicate with. And that's just the chiropractor. That's not including their marketing assistant. So now we're at 140 people, or their office manager and our team, right? So it's 70, 140, and then you add in our team of 10 being able, and our team of VAs being able to track it. So it's easy to trick yourself into thinking that it's going to be super complex. And if you can simplify it into buckets, then you're able to condense it and make it much easier to understand and to execute.
I like that. Thumbs up if you like that, kind of thinking through the phases and the cues that your clients go through so that you can keep it under control, simplify it, but make sure you still execute on all of the deliverables and all of the things that you've promised. I know there's a training component to what you do for the clients that you serve. I think I saw a video of you speaking in front of a big group of chiropractors. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we follow Learn, Do, Teach, and that's something that Dennis is a massive proponent of that we also do. So and that's why we would roll out for, say, Dr. Nate and Stacy Blooming. We would roll out like one campaign, we would learn it, do it, and if it was effective, then we would launch it out for our next 2 alpha, beta clients, and then the other clients. Once we've done something successfully 3 times, we know that it is a process and we know that it can be sent out across the masses. And so once we do that, we want to teach everyone exactly what we're doing too, because not only does it get cross-referenced and checked, but then people can just take it and apply it themselves. The beauty of a process, think of it like a recipe, is that if the recipe's good, then it is only the person that's failing, right? So if you have a recipe on how to make cake and you've got all the ingredients that you need and all the equipment that you need and you have your oven, then you just follow directions and you're going to get the result. And so when we teach, we're teaching the exact steps that they can do that from the client perspective, but really they're getting the agency perspective too. We just reframe it to let them know, like, you guys can take this and do it on your own. You never have to be held hostage by an agency, because a lot of local businesses do feel like they've been held hostage. So we want to eliminate that from the beginning. Here's the litmus test. Take it, try it, do it. And if you love it, which you will, then you can hire us to do it for you. And so every training has a pieces of content. That content goes to a checklist, and that checklist goes into a package. And so when you're able to take what you do for your clients and teach them, empower them to where they have the option to do it themselves, they're going to pick to hire you to do it every time, because they don't have the time to learn. They don't have maybe the resources, and they know exactly what you're going to execute for them. Because the number one reason that an agency loses clients is a lack of perceived caring. And so when you're taking exactly what the client has in trainings or one-pagers and executing that, and you're communicating with them well, then they know that you care and that you're doing exactly what you promised. And that's all they want.
I love it. I love it. So do you sell those trainings, or is that something you give as a value add to get clients? I'm just curious in your model how you handle that.
Yeah, we just give them away.
Yeah.
We even give them at other agencies. Just take them. We give them because things will develop, things will change. We've got agency, partners through dentists, who have 200 clients, some who have almost 300 clients, some who have 50 clients, depending on the size of their market, and they all use the same systems and processes. Just like you can look up how to make Red Lobster's cheddar bacon biscuits or whatever they are. They're like their best-selling thing, but you can still buy them at the store, and you can still look up the recipe to make them yourself. And nobody loses. In that case, everybody wins. The do-it-yourselfer, the person who wants it to be slightly easy, or the person who wants to pay the higher ticket price and just go get it done from the kitchen themselves. And we believe in following that same model.
100%. And I'm a big proponent of running consistent training webinars, basically on a monthly basis. I think the pushback we get oftentimes is, man, I can't tell them exactly how I would do it because then they're not going to want to hire me. And it's just like Tristan said, completely the opposite. If you actually show them, here's exactly what you need to do in order to get better results, whether it's through SEO or pay-per-click or Facebook ads in their case, or whatever the thing is, you show them, here's how you do it. Here's some examples of how we've done it. Here's the model. Go do it yourself. You become magnetically attractive to that group because they're like, wow, he knows exactly how to do it, or she knows exactly how to do it. They just showed me how fast can I get them to do it for me, because they're confident that you actually know what you're doing and you can deliver on what you just said. So I think that was very well stated. So thank you for making that clear. And it's not like you need to go out and sell it for $1,500 to make some money off the course. That's not where it's at. It's about giving the valuable information, and the right prospects, I promise you, are going to lean into it and want to hire you to take the ball and run with it for them.
Yeah, exactly. And so when you follow that, learn, do, teach. And when you teach your clients, you're not only just empowering them, which is your, job as an agency to make sure they get the results, whether they do it on their own or they hire you to do it, but you're also doing the inception model right there. And that is when you have that training and proven processes, you're even more likely for an endorsement for a Glenbow or Dr. Sean Dill, any of these other people, to pull you into their groups because they see that you have the training and processes and that you've successfully done it. And that's infinitely more valuable to them and their group than for you to come in and be able to give them like a discount or anything like that. In fact, they're willing to pay higher ticket prices because they know that it works and they know that you're going to be following a checklist and a process. And so you become the expert. You think of it like a heart surgeon. Like if you had to get heart surgery, God forbid, you would not want the surgeon to be like, yeah, but if you act now, it's only going to be $500 and I've only got 5 more slots this week. Like, you wouldn't want them to be cold calling you, trying to reselling that. You would want to know that they've spent years in school, that they're certified, that they've done it countless times, and that they're supported by a group, an entity, a business, a hospital that validates, the proof that they can do this successfully. And so you're following the exact same model by giving out your own processes, your own tools. They are going to see you as the expert.
100%. Give me a like or a yes if that resonates. If you're clear on this distinction, right? Learn, do, teach. You learn it by getting a client, and like whether they pay you or not, you make them your lighthouse or your case study client. You validate that you know what you're doing, and you get them a tangible, measurable result with what you deliver. Then you start to teach it. You unpack it. Hey, here's what we did. Here's how it worked. Here's the results they got, right? Not a sales pitch, but this is exactly how we did it, and you could do it on your own. That makes you magnetically attractive to prospects, but it also makes you magnetically attractive to those coaches and consultants that you want to potentially endorse you, because you're taking them through the entire journey. You're showing that you get validation that you can actually deliver it, but you can also educate their community on how they would do it themselves, which is what most of these coaches, consultants want, right? They don't want to just plug another service. They want to be able to give their community value that they can run with. I think that's why Tristan was able to align with Dennis and was able to align with the chiropractic group that he's in, that accelerated his growth. I hope that connects some dots for you guys on how to, you can't plug this in right out of the gates, but if you focus early on knocking out of that park for the clients that you do have, it will become a chain reaction to everything else that you want to do down the road.
Exactly. And it creates a standard within your own company as you grow too, that there will always be a process and a recipe. Like imagine, again, like the Red Lobster, right? I love Red Lobster's biscuits. I think it's them. They have the good biscuits. Yeah. Imagine if Red Lobster opened in Indianapolis and Las Vegas, but the chefs in the kitchen were able to make whatever they wanted. Forget the menu, forget the process, forget the aesthetic of the store. You could even say that all those are the same. But if the chefs made different food in different ways, I'm sure one would be better than the other. And if one experience is better than the other, that's a problem. They should both be phenomenal. And so when you're able to take these processes, when you take on new clients, when you evaluate their goals, their content, their targeting, you know confidently that you're either going to be able to get them that result using your proven processes, or refer them to the place where they can get help if they need something that you don't provide or offer. And if they need something new and they're an alpha client, or they're those people that you've started with, then if your agency is at a space to do it, you can learn that, do it, and evaluate whether or not you want to grow and scale it out to other clients and teach it.
Love it. So I know a lot of people they're thinking, Tristan mentioned to send an email somewhere to get access to the influence training and to some other systems and processes. Can you repeat that email for people that are listening or maybe watching this after the fact?
Yeah, so go to operations@chirorevenue.com and send an email. Use the subject line, "We love Josh." And then in there, I would ask for digital plumbing, the SAE, the thank you engine, the influence generator, how to turn 1,000 pieces of content or one content into 1,000 pieces of content. We'll send all those documentations to you guys. We have more, but that'll get you started, because you'll be able to see the rollout of how we actually execute things. And it's the exact process that we use. In the top of our queues, those exact documents are there to teach our team. And as they get updated, we roll out, new versions.
Awesome. Extremely generous. And Dennis and you were just extremely generous with sharing what works, sharing your stuff. So operations@chirorevenue.com. Ask for all the stuff you just said. I'll try and put it in the show notes. There's a lot. I think there's how many, like hundreds of different pieces that you are willing to share. So they're not going to share all of it. You got to call out the things that you want. Another one you should ask for is the Facebook access checklist. Also is a good one that you guys have that you've shared in the past, which is really, really strong.
Yep. And these are tried and true processes. Just like I said, you could get the cheddar biscuits, you can go to the freezer aisle at Walmart and buy them, or you can go to the store themselves. And so no matter where you are in your agency, you might have 50 clients as well, maybe even 100. You can litmus test it against your own processes. And I know for a fact you'll take something valuable away from it, because we've had people who come in with hundreds of clients who look at it and they're like, oh, snap, I picked up this one thing from it and it made this massive difference. And we have people who are just starting from the ground up, where it might feel a little overwhelming, but they have the security to know that this is something that Dennis has used, Tristan has used, and all our other agency figureheads that you'll see coming out. Because I'm just one of many agency owners and that are using these processes, and we want you guys to be able to use them too.
Powerful, powerful stuff. So I want to talk about something I heard you say on a video once, which was this whole idea of you're not just focused on generating leads and sales for your clients. You're focused on helping them create a better experience for the actual end person that's coming in for chiropractic care. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I thought it was a powerful paradigm.
Yeah. So to me, marketing is just previewing an experience. And so if you read The Power of Habit, it actually gives a couple market analysis of, say, Starbucks, Target, a couple other big companies. But one of them was Febreze. And so it was a huge takeaway that I had that just like totally changed our perspective of how we make content. Febreze gave away their product by the millions. They interviewed housewives. They did like all these things. It cost them literally tens of millions of dollars to be able to roll out this product. And they were failing and failing and failing and failing until they put a video camera inside the house of these housewives. And they realized of the subgroups, the women that actually used Febreze, and all kinds of people use Febreze, but it was mostly housewives, that when they got done cleaning, they packed everything up, they sprayed the Febreze, and then they, because it was like finishing the icing on the cake. And now, if you look at any Febreze ad on TV, that's what you see. If you look at Coca-Cola, you hear, from the crackling of the soda. If you look at McDonald's, I'm loving it, whether it be the playpen, the chicken, the burgers, the salad, whatever it is they're advertising. And what that does is it starts to preview the experience. And so this experience can be anything. It could be something your client provides, whether it be the actual experience in the office of it being, comfortable and a family environment that they're, able to bring everybody into. It could be the experience of the adjustment itself, like it is for chiropractors. It could be what happens after care. It could be what happens during community events, but there is an experience happening all the time. And so when you go to create content, whether it be why, how, and what videos, what you're really doing is putting yourself out there to say, this is what it's like to work with me. If I'm a chiropractor, say I'm Dr. Parmley with Performance Chiropractic, every single piece of my listings, whether it be my Google My Business, my website, my Facebook, is the preview of the experience of what it's like to work with me. So if you go and Google my fake practice, and I should make a practice that's just perfect. So you can't actually do this, but if you were to Google me and you see just like super low quality, say images, you go to my Facebook and there's like nothing there. You go to my website, you can't contact me. Your automatic association for this experience is that it probably doesn't exist. So how are you going to get there, right? But if you go and you Google me and you see amazing reviews that show my experience and my reputation is up there, you see up-to-date videos and posting, you go into my website and you see all this value, whether it be blogs and information, you go to my Facebook page and you see customers and clients, providing their experience and videos, then you see that this experience is more valuable than any experience you're going to get at another office. And so I'm going to go there, right? And that experience is different for every customer. Maybe they're looking for pain relief with chiropractors. Maybe they're looking for actual quality care. But people want to know that that experience is going to get them whatever result that they're looking for. So your job is to just be able to push out as many experiences and previews and bridges as possible for your clients. And that's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking to do. And that's what building awareness is saying, here's this person, and here's all the experiences that they provide. And if you're in need of one of those services, this is what you can expect. And when those expectations are met, they will praise you and endorse you all day long.
I love it. Great insights, great paradigm, kind of what you're trying to deliver for your clients. It's not just leads, it's previewing the experience so that they get raving fans out on the back end of the leads that you generate. Powerful stuff. I know we're getting close to the 1 hour mark and you're a busy guy. So we've talked about how you landed clients, kind of how you've accelerated your growth, kind of what you're delivering and how you deliver. Congratulations on your accelerated growth and like all of the things that you've learned over these last 4 years in your agency. or 2 years in your agency, right? Something
Yeah,
along.
it's restarted. I mean, you could consider it 4 years because we've been committed to this for a long time, but you could also consider it 2 years with the relaunch.
Awesome. So kind of in wrapping, what would be one nugget of wisdom you'd share with that digital marketing agency that's at that low six-figure level, trying to figure out how do I get to the next level? Like what would be one nugget of wisdom that we can wrap up on today?
Yeah, and I also want to say thank you so much for having me, and thank you for everybody for asking great questions, and anybody who watches this after the fact, to comment and ask questions. We'll come back to these kinds of posts and give value because there's so many. So I would leave with two. The first one is, again, if you don't quit, you win. As an agency owner, it is actually way easier to go from 15 to 73 clients than you think, and so on, because we're still growing and we're nowhere near finished. And there are new challenges at every level. So if you don't quit, you win. And it doesn't matter what those challenges are. The second would be, and the easiest way to prevent yourself from being discouraged or not quitting is to follow proven systems and principles, whether they come from Josh Nelson, whether they come from the books you read of successful people who have what you're going for, they be from Dennis Yu, or they be from our own training. There are principles that work everywhere. And sometimes the hardest lesson to learn is, that one principle, that one system, that one change you need to make that you're resistant to. But I promise you, the more malleable you are to following proven systems and processes and removing your own ego, removing your own thoughts from it and following the people who've done it, the faster you'll get there. And it's not going to be easy, which is why you can't quit.
Love it. Two powerful insights to wrap up on. So to connect with you and Dennis further, any suggestions on how to do that? Is it best just to send that email? Any other places they should go?
Yeah, so go to LinkedIn for sure. So our Facebook friends are filling up super, super fast. You can find me easily. I'm Tristan Parmley, TristanParmley. I seem to be the only one, so I'm really easy to find.
Lucky, you got an easy name that's like not super competitive, right?
Yeah, so I'm sure my SEO ranking is just going to continue to skyrocket. So I would just look us up there, and Dennis Yu, of course, and add us on LinkedIn, especially. We're growing a lot there. And on Facebook, on our pages as well. We have public figure pages that are very easy to find because our friend lists are wrapping up.
Great stuff. So reach out to these guys. Send an email to operations@ChiroRevenue.com. Ask for the resources. Put "We Love Josh" in the subject line. They'll hook you up. I hope you got as much value out of this session as I did. Tristan, this was awesome. I really appreciate you taking the time to share. Be sure to look Tristan up. Thank him for his time. You'll find successful people are extremely willing to share what's working and are, very abundant minded, as opposed to thinking, oh man, I've got all this success, I'm going to hold it to myself. So thank you for your willingness to share and kind of openly give of your resources. If you'd like to listen to more interviews like this with highly successful digital marketing agencies from across the country, be sure to go to sevenfigureagency.com. There you can find the podcast, you can subscribe, you can opt in. We've got a great inventory now of success podcast interviews just like this one. So thanks so much for joining us. If you have questions, the conversation will continue on Facebook and in the Facebook group. Be sure to tag me and Tristan and Dennis Yu over there, and have an amazing day. Thanks again, Tristan.
Not a problem. See you guys. Thanks so much, Josh. And make sure you guys are following everything that Josh Nelson teaches, because he is not joking around. He's giving you away the blueprint. I'll see you guys.
Thanks, man.